Azure App Service Web Apps. How do you create, manage, and scale web applications running on the Azure App Service? That is what we're going to focus on this. And we'll get a fair understanding of what is App Service Plan. This video is part of the Developing Solutions for Microsoft Azure AZ-204. And so if you're looking to get certified and pass the AZ-204 exam, to become a Microsoft Azure certified developer, then you are in the right place. Come, let's get started. In this particular video, we will talk about the Azure creating Azure App Service Web Apps. So we are going to basically get some understanding of this Azure App Service Plan and concept of App Service Environment, which is also called ASE. App Service Plans are essentially the compute platform that runs our web application. App Service Environment, which is ASE, this is where we could run our isolated web application. Like at the enterprise level, if they wanted to put their application in a separate place where no other applications are deployed, that is where they choose ASE environment. Now, let's understand some app service plan. Creating web apps in Azure App Service is easy. However, it does require a good understanding of app service plan. Azure App Service is an HTTP based service for hosting web apps, and it's a very advanced version of web hosting. However, Microsoft makes it easy for us to run application that runs on Windows platform or on Linux platform. We can use all different frameworks to run our application. For example, we can run ASP.NET application, ASP.NET Core, Node.js, Python, PHP, Java, and many more. So with these web apps, we can deploy the code directly to app service, or we can use the Docker containers. Docker containers is again a separate topic which we will cover in this AZ-204 certification part. Now, app service is a managed service, meaning Microsoft does pretty much all the heavy lifting work for us. They are going to take care of everything regarding the environment, and they'll make sure the environment is secured wherever applications are deployed, meaning they will patch, they will do whatever they want to do for the machine to keep it up to date. So behind the scene in app service, there's basically an integrated load balancing. We can automate to deploy our code to app service. We can also auto scale at the compute layer. Virtual machines are what really powers an app service plan. So we can scale out or scale in to support dynamic load. Coming to the cost, if you think of how much it is going to cost, depending on type of compute environment, the app service plan environment that you select while you create an app service, that is what it dictates the cost. Each cost is different for each selection that you make. There are two different types of app service plan that you really wanted to know. One is non-isolated and one is isolated. First, let's cover what is non-isolated and then we'll go from there. So here on the screen, I have taken an architecture diagram from Microsoft website which shows the non-isolated app service environment. Here if you see, we will have an app service plan, and under the app service plan, you will create app service web app. There could be more than one app service web app within a given app service plan. Now, there will be a separate storage blob, and there is a separate Azure SQL database, which means you will virtually have a SQL server. Under that virtual SQL server, you might have one or more database to it. Now all these together grouped with a resource group name, meaning they're all like virtually grouped with a name, so that in case you have to drop everything, you can delete the resource group and everything inside the resource group will get deleted. Now this is where our application is hosted. If you see to the left side, you have the internet and you have the Azure DNS and Active Directory coming up to the internet. So from there, when someone fires a request, when someone hits your web application, is going to come and hit the app service web app, and that is how your application is going to serve the request. Now coming back to the price plans or different plans, if you see, there are a couple of plans that Microsoft offers, starting from F1 followed by B1, D1, and S1, P1, V1. So let's see one by one. The first one is F1, which is basically a free plan. And if you look at the image, the free one will allow you 1 GB of memory and 60 minutes per day compute. That's it. Beyond that, it's not going to work. It's not going to cost you anything, but it just stops working. And then the next one is the B1. It's slightly little higher memory, and it is going to cost a month $15 or $13. That's the estimate that says, right? And then you have B2, B3, and they all are easy for to put it into a dev or test environment. Say, let's say you have a web app, you're practicing something, you want to deploy and see how it works. You can use F1 and you can actually deploy your application in the Azure app service and see how it works. And to the bottom, if you see, it also includes what type of hardwares they offer for each plan. So for F1, it's memory and storage is specified. And let's take and if you take for B1, B2, B3, there are a few more things included, like features like the custom domain is included with SSL, and the manual scaling is included. And in terms of hardware, you have Azure compute units also. So the next plan is like S1, S2, S3, and this is basically for your production. If you have to deploy anything to your production where it really runs properly, this is the minimum plan that you need to choose. But a lot of features comes with this. If you see, there's an auto scale, the staging slots, the daily backups, traffic manager, and all these many features comes along with this S1 package. So based on what you need to choose this. In real time, they will choose a minimum of S1 in the companies. If you're looking for very powerful machine where your application is so intense and it requires really more memory and size in terms of storage to process the requests where heavy work is done in your application, you should think of going to P1 V1. It's going to be a little costly, but you can see what is the memory that is given and what type of tires and what is the cost. It's just like $81 per month is not very high price for a company. So based on what they want, they can choose, and you can see the difference in the storage allocation and auto scale. If you see, it can scale up to 20 instance. We will see shortly how to auto scale and all. But other than these things, so the next topic is isolation. As I said, there are two types: non-isolated and isolated. Let's say isolation with app service environment. So far we have discussing running web apps in a non-isolated scenarios, right? That's where based on the plan that you choose, your application and more than other applications also deploy virtually on the same VM. VM is what is all behind the scene. So now for the isolated environment, it is not the case. So let's talk about isolation with app service environment, also known as ASE. So with ASE, this is a fully isolated and dedicated environment for running your web apps. So it's still app service, it's still a managed service by Microsoft, but it just has a big difference. Here is you get the entire compute environment dedicated to you, and you also get the isolation of being able to put it in your own VNet, the virtual network. ASE is designed for high scale and for high memory utilization. Isolation and secure network access is one of the things that's most interesting for the enterprise. That's why they go for this ASE environment. Not every company goes, but there are companies which will go. So what you can do with this ASE, you can now put the app service environment inside their own VNet and control all the inbound and outbound access that flows in and out of that environment. In addition to that isolation, the fine-grained control over network traffic makes it good for the companies. Apps can connect over VPN to on-premises resource, which will make the connection very fast and you will not see any lag. And that's it. This is the end of this video. So you now have an understanding of the Azure App Service and App Service plan, and you know what kind of different plan tiers you have to choose with. In order to complete this, there are 4 more things that we need to cover, which you will see in the next video. One is creating the app service and web apps using Portal, then followed by CLI, PowerShell, and then ARM template. Once you cover all these things, one topic of AZ-204 certification is completed. I'll give you all the details in the description. Thanks for watching. If you liked my video, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like it, share it, comment it, and never forget to click on the bell icon.